This should be fine now. So welcome to another live stream. My name is Codakolor. I am broadcasting from BPREC Studios in Denver, Colorado. And I left you guys with a really cool version of this song, but now I've come back with about 2 hours added on to it. I've made something significantly different. Are none of my interfaces working? Oh my god. No. Okay, they are. Perfect. I may be in headphones, like I said, just to get a closer mix down, but we will be experimenting with tape, so here we go. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. we still have this section to fill in. We gotta try again over here, and then there's a moment where it's just kind of the beat itself, which is not bad, but we just gotta make it work. Of course, that's the idea. All this makes work. So the biggest thing really, kind of get started with a cup of coffee. So if you're following at home on the live chat, I apologize, the camera keeps falling AMS gray. I'm going to zoom in on the Ableton part because that's always fun. And I'm also going to lower it just a smidge. Remember, YouTube link, it's the way to go. Let me grab my coffee. It's a really fun track. It's a really, really fun track. Actually, so much fun that, so much fun that I want to attempt a little bit of, just a little bit of variation in between the parts, so it gives it a little bit more roll. And then eventually we can get into some sonic territories, but let's carve out some frequencies first. I didn't notice too many things that were intrusive on the main mix. When I was monitoring on my headphones, should say AirPod Pro 2nd gens, I'm going to take ozone off just so that the mixing is a bit more apparent, and maybe we can actually reach a new sonic maximum. I'll go ahead and version this version, CK Remix 1124, in the same folder. That way the new one, when I save it, I can save as. Actually, I'll do that right now. So I'm going to save this as 11.2. Okay, cool. It's not good. Not good naming convention. This part sounds pretty cool. There's a little bit of extra fluff in the original recording. I'm going to keep some of that mid-range. Yeah, a little bit of a round tail. So right now you can hear it's kind of a basic. There's a little bit of support on the low end, but not too much on the high end. I intentionally cut that off pretty early, around 7.5 kilohertz, just to give it this appearance of a nice, yeah. Now this part is actually where the vocal comes in. So I'm going to say Vox Champion. I'm going to put 1988. This is the 1988 Champion theme from Crystal Light. The You Thought Aerobic videos couldn't get any cooler than this. Jordan Peele keeps dancing. Or no, Jordan Peele keeps looking. He's just concerned in general. So I use AI program to isolate and then confine the vocals. They're not perfect, and as you can hear right now, the Alpha Tool device is on. For this, I'm going to go ahead, cut it out. So my theory was actually taking the vocal track as it was and exciting it in the tape machine that I have directly to my left. I was thinking about doing that. Before I do that, though, I got to make sure that I have my Vox basically all figured out. So I got the Champions part, which has everything in it. I'm going to take one more EQ8. I do like it just being kind of flat represented, but there are some RL frequencies with the crowd that just don't seem to align. I'm going to surgically find those. They're in the higher frequencies, of course. We're listening for just pokies. Yeah, like right there. That's the part where the beat hits and it kind of goes down in pitch. So what else can we use to kind of indicate that the beat there is at a reset point? In the drums, we have an 808. This is open hat 808. So all these instruments that are in here are from an 808. Most noticeably the crash cymbal. But I don't like it repeating every other time, so I'm going to take those two, highlight them, just one so. This is going to take some process, so bear with me. It's a heck of a ride. Try that. That might be better. Somewhat close, but not too close. Should work. Okay, the bass has a nice thick pocket in it. I believe I also have an EQ8 dip in the mids just slightly. So we're really gonna listen to the bass and see if that was the right thing to do. I think most of the guck is right about here, so I'm gonna. The low frequencies taper after 2 kilohertz, which is good. There are parts where the bass does get a little bit more full, I believe. Went to the sub. Oh, maybe not. That might be it, actually. Great. Okay, so I'm not going to change any of the higher frequencies. Might go around here and actually... That way it doesn't... Just more space. More space is better. And then if you get the lowest part, of course, of the bass happens... That sub. Perfect, and we roll it off just about at the right frequency. Remember, we do have quite the exciter at the very beginning. So I'm going to take the strings. I'm going to take the volume from where it was and just automate it straight down. The string ensemble only comes back here. And as you can hear, it's pretty quiet. It's a nice filling bass, though. It needs to match the kick at any given opportunity. That bass and the kick, which actually I'll drag right next to each other so you can kind of see it, need to sit at identical volumes. So I'll fold everything else up. I'm going to solo just the kick and the bass, and I'm going to expand each of the groups so that I can kind of see the meter on the side for the group itself. I'll command undo what I just did. Okay. Oops. Again, wrong one. Bass needs to go over it. There we go. Oh no. Bass needs to go in its own group. Come on. There we go. Okay, so now that I'll expand this one. Cool. Now, where are we with the bass? Well, it appears that we're actually not that close. The kick has precedence, which is good. Actually, most of the song seems to hit pretty agreeably at a louder volume, but just for the sake of this, I'm going to make the kick about as equally loud as the bass, and that's after all the processing. And of course the bass itself has a significant sidechain. To avoid clicks, I'm going to switch the look ahead to 1, roll my knee down to a bit more of an aggressive 3. And I can experiment with the final compressor, which is the supercharger. See if it picks up any slack afterwards. It doesn't. It seems to pump a lot more full beforehand. So that's one way of doing it. Once you get into kind of a flat sound, sometimes speakers can be a little bit misleading. This is where headphones really come in handy. So I will do exactly that. Sounds a lot more agreeable. Sweet, so now we really just kind of have the kick and the bass leading the track. If I really want to challenge it, I can add the rest of the drums, which I'll put right underneath the bass. I'm going to put the synth right underneath that because the synth does have quite a big part. Synth comeback is also a part of synth, but it's not going to have any effects. So now we can add that. There we go. Awesome. Okay, let's add the synth comeback. Actually, synth comeback does not seem to have any part. Oh, look at that. I don't think I ever used synth comeback. I did design a synth for it. I really don't think it's going to be useful in this case though, so we're good with the way it is right now. I think it's actually pretty good. So we have Gravity Hill, we have Champions, and then we have all the crowd plus the effects. These two are kind of our predominant mid parts. And a lot of people like to color code just the mid part, the low part, and the high part. I'm pretty weird when it comes to it. I like doing color palettes and kind of color chases, especially if the bass itself is in a good spot, which it seems to be. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to a more vibrant. Yeah. Okay. I don't really know if that part's going to survive. Sure. I guess it will. Cool. So let's just send it out. Let's go. That part maybe less of, oops. seems to have a symbol on every other one, which is interesting. These also seem to be slightly off. They're very discreet, but... So let's just make sure that lines up with our bass. Because remember, everything's got to be melodic. Doesn't seem to. I'm going to pitch it down. We're going to try one. So the vocal, okay, so it kind of jumps down again. Okay. Okay. There's one part of that where the crowd goes whoop whoop. Oh, I think I'm gonna make that by itself. So new effects, whoop whoop, like in the clubs. They did this in 1985, by the way. Let's see if this is it. Yep. It's kind of haunting. Okay, one thing that I definitely wanted to do while I have a chance is recreate what would be a cop siren. So to do a cop siren, you're going to drag a new version of operator, predefined distance, and we're going to use something much like an oscillator to drive a single pitch all the way up and then all the way back down. To do that, we'll click right into operator. There is such thing as a pitch envelope, but what we actually want to use is an LFO that's synced to give or take every 4. So now, and that should be driven to 100%. you'll hear it go, right. There we go. That's a lot closer. I think the key of the song is actually going to be. All right, now you can't hear it. It needs to be even lower. That's actually pretty close to what we need. Of course, there's a top layer as well, and that's a square wave. What we hear from a lot of passing cop sirens, or just EMS in general, you'll hear a lot more of kind of a square tone. Obviously not that low. We'll match it. A lot of, because it's processing in parallel, we're probably not getting, or in series rather, that's why we're getting ring modulation. So I'm going to switch our modes to the one on the far right, which is in serial, so everything has its own effect. Here we go, a little bit closer now. That's as close as we're going to get. Sweet. Okay, so now FX siren. And it re-triggers every time. So one thing that I would like to do is create an auto filter to kind of muffle it and kind of bring it out that way. And then the part where the siren sweeps back down is the drop itself. Heck, we can make it even more dramatic and then just copy over the new one. Now, one thing about it, I believe we're going to add a new convolution reverb. I think that's probably the best way to do it. And I want this to be a relatively large space, maybe like a city space. I'll type city. I'll see what I can come up here. If nothing there, maybe building. Okay, maybe not. We're just going to try something else. Here a minute. I do want it to sound like a big, like a bright, not a bright theater, like a jazz hall almost. And instead of dragging that into the effect itself, I'm going to drag that into the return track that I just made here. And these guys are probably going to be yellow into like that. Main is white, obvi. Okay, cool. So, okay, we'll send it using this C33. Minus 12 on the actual volume. So, the halfway point is where the actual drop will happen. And as you can hear, it's kind of there, but it's not really where we want it to be. We want it to have kind of a sharp sound, less low end, far off in the distance kind of effect. We can simulate that by cutting out most of the mids. And actually, one of my favorite things to do this with is called the Dance Master. This is what I used to put on my tracks back when I started with Ableton on my master track. No, I mean, yes, that's how you're going to get the sound. No, you're cutting out pretty much everything that you need. And then this nice, smooth wall of sound now becomes a very harsh dip. Similar to if you put on like Beats headphones. It's very similar to that. But I want it to have pump, so I'm going to go ahead just drag a basic LFO tool. It's pretty close. You hear that there's a little bit of clicking, so I'm going to smooth it out. You might hear that pitch on, I believe it's, no, I take that back, that's Gravity Hill. Champions. That bounce is off key, which it is, because it's a suspended. There we go. Oh, and then that's another thing, the crowd itself. It's quite noisy. It must be coming from probably the recording itself. Trying to think where exactly the crowd could actually be in this. Okay, so we have two instances of LFO tool. One is shaped like this, and then the other one, which I labeled crystal meth for some reason, is like this. So phase one is more of the pump that you get from a sidechain compression. LFO tool is tapered quarter notes. So in this case, when it hits, I want that second one to turn on. That's the effect that you're going to have. I think I'm just going to keep it that way. I'm going to grab some water. I'll let it play from the beginning. Then we'll do some tape. Okay, so now let's revisit the Gravity Hill machine. We have a nice little duck on it. LFO tool is basically our help there. Already kind of falls short, so I'm gonna listen to the vocals again. You can hear that we're back to that, which, you know, the vocal as well, which I forgot I recolored to this one. So I think I'm just gonna dragging the siren up here now. Okay. Yeah, so or so. I don't know. I might go back to using another crowd sound or something, which we have plenty of course, in this edition. The original Crystal Light Challenge, 1988 challenge. Sorry, Crystal Light 1988 challenge. I've preserved here by itself, unwarped. Okay, well, there we go. So that's what the original sounds like. You can hear that intro is what I use at the very beginning. That's the original, by the way. I'll just keep listening for a good part. At one part you hear the... It's around here. I think right now it has the... Should be running smooth, yeah. There's the part. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep extending it till we find a... Here's the... Hold on. Okay. Okay, so that part, this part is a pretty solid just chonker of a beat, a background beat. So I'm going to take that, I'll probably warp it from here. I'll find the first beat, which I believe is there. Set 1-1. Nope. Couldn't be more off. Did not preserve it. I think it should be coming up though. There. What in the world? Ugh. That's what happens when you're not listening to the right one. Wow, minus 12 on that guy. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, I'm gonna warp it from here. Perfect. All right, interesting. So yeah, a lot of the frequencies aren't quite as sharp on this one, and there's a reason for that. The recording itself is for both sources. Fortunately, I found a pretty high definition version of the Champion song, but not very much the Gravity Hill song, which honestly came from an arcade machine. So unless there was some kind of promo footage released by the company OK Games, who developed Gravity Hill, it's going to be tough finding the original source of that. There may also be a chance if it's ADA compliant, where it has a headphone jack, you could just sample directly from the headphone jack into like a field recorder, for example, and it works. You could do that at the museum too. They have plug-in ports that you could just put in 3.5 or whatever it is, 1/4 inch maybe. So I don't know if it should be a snare roll, if it should be... I already have white noise, so there's already a significant amount of data there. I don't know if it should be a swoop up. I don't know if it should be like a riser. I like to be able to find something. I have been stealing a lot of Crossy Road samples, so maybe it's somewhere in here. Let's take a look. Let's make sure there's no effect. Solo it. Oops. That was a dog. Cool. So far, great. Oh. Oh. Nice. Emo Goose. I found Emo Goose. Meh. That matches that main. Holy crap, no. Okay, we're gonna stick with what we have. Alright, maybe that's what we do. Okay, so it's sitting pretty close now. The kick was banging on the original mix. Obviously, I had it up at 3, so I'm going to just try -4 again. The kick really does drive the song, and I want to make sure it doesn't compete with my compressor. So let's just move right over to Ozone really quick. I'm going to get kind of a rough master, if you would. And I already have this all set up, so it's pretty much, I'll walk you through it. Obviously, the low end is attenuated just a bit. I tend to push it quite hard in my mixes. Also, a lot of stabilization. I usually start at 50 with everything floored. As soon as I start hearing things get cut out or just disproportionate, that's when I take the stabilizer off. But it seems to be doing a lot for the low end part. And this is some impact.